Welcome, everyone. I'm Tracy Fitzpatrick, and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Microsoft 365 Copilot Masterclass, Prompting Tips and Tricks. Presenting today's topic is Gino Joseph. Gino is a Microsoft certified trainer with over 8 years of experience in the technical field. Gino's expertise is in Microsoft Azure, Power Platform, and data science technologies. He has successfully delivered numerous corporate trainings to date and consulting assignments for various clients across the globe. Please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic. We offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored to your specific requirements. If you are interested in a further discussion, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you'll get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We do have 9 practice areas in which we specialize. They encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the Data and AI practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio of courses for the topic being covered today. Our upcoming classes include various trainings on the given courses. You can also access a variety of marketing assets, such as the free training and blogs, by clicking on the available event handout. These offerings can be found with a simple search on our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session will explore how to unlock the full potential of Microsoft 365 Copilot through effective prompting strategies that boost productivity and streamline daily tasks. In this practical and engaging masterclass, you'll learn to craft precise, high-impact prompts that drive better results in tools like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Discover expert techniques to guide Copilot more efficiently, improve workflow automation, and turn everyday tasks into powerful outcomes. Gain insights that will help you work smarter, faster, and with greater confidence using AI in Microsoft 365. In addition, participants will get guidance on effectively preparing MS 4018 certification course and exam in today's session. And now I would like to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. To begin with, you do have the option to view in full screen by clicking on the full screen button on the right side of the GoToWebinar viewer. Simply hit the escape key to exit the full screen. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters. Feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters here in the questions pane, and we will address them at the end of the session. And to get the best out of today's events, we've included the slides, courses we talk about, and marketing assets in the Handouts section of your GoToWebinar viewer. You may refer to them at any time to get a better understanding of today's topic. And we do realize that some of you may have to leave early and want to let you know that as you do leave the session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We would like to request for you to take a quick moment to participate in that survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions for you. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. And now I'd like to pass this over to our trainer to present today's topic. Hey, Gino, thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you very much, Tracy, for that warm introduction. Take through very particularly. Hey, hi, Hello, everyone. Myself, Gino Joseph. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. I come with 8+ years of experience into the domain of training, working here in a common capacity of a technical trainer. Really excited as I take you through this particular masterclass when it comes to Microsoft 365 Copilot, prompting tips and tricks. Um, say this is what the agenda really looks like. I'm pretty sure maybe you have an insight into what the agenda really represents. We're going to get started, kickstart with respect to understanding Microsoft 365 Copilot for boosting productivity. I believe as a trainer, it's very important that you understand the tool before we get to play around with the tool very particularly. So I have incorporated very particularly certain slides, certain say presentation part where I'm going to discuss about maybe something about on what Copilot really is all about, and we are going to delve into see the possibilities, the boosting, how we can boost productivity. I'm pretty sure you all are subject matter experts when it comes to your kind of work. But yes, how you can leverage the possibilities with augmenting artificial intelligence in your day-to-day tasks using Copilot is what we will look into working with respect to M365 Copilot. I'm going to talk about some prompting techniques, okay, not all, okay, but yes, some of the say, important facets that we will be looking into understanding the prompting techniques for your various M365 tools. Okay, I'll show you some demonstrations that will work really hardly. Okay, when it comes to maybe your Word, maybe your say Excel, okay, maybe your PowerPoint as such, and of course your say Copilot chat also. So we will see that prompting will play a very crucial role when it comes to say working with these Copilot tools as such around there. And to get leveraging the best possibilities or the best outcome in all these scenarios, again, prompts will play a very crucial role. And then we're going to talk about, say, how we can enhance, say, understanding the workflows. All right. I'm pretty sure as professionals, when it comes to composing emails, maybe see working with respect to your teams and so and so. Again, a lot of time goes into maybe collaborating and, say, identifying the best way to come up with results for your organization on your day-to-day task. And that's where, say, how AI-driven insights can be really be beneficial is what we will be looking into, how we can enhance our workflows, especially when it comes to whenever you're going to work with long thread of emails and so and so. We'll try to identify some of the prospects, okay, which best I can say showcased within the limited, say, the scope with respect to my organizational data, but definitely will try to talk on those facets. And then I'm going to talk about some of the best practices when you're going to take back. Okay, today, once you leave this session, you're going to take back very particularly that insight, some practices that can be really helpful for you guys when it comes to working with Copilot, okay, to get the best results accordingly. And finally, we can embrace some question in case if you as a participant have anything that needs to be accommodated with, maybe say something that needs to be attended. I'll definitely would love to attend to your queries as such around there. So without wasting further, I'll write, say, let's understand, okay, how particularly what are the ways in which you will be able to prompt around with Copilot, okay, again, understanding of the tool Copilot as such, and the best practices in the sequential order as such. Let me try to introduce Microsoft 365 Copilot very particularly, or say, and of course, how it can really boost your productivity. I'm pretty sure post-pandemic, okay, pandemic, we would have heard a lot about, see, maybe the particular virus and so and so. But post-pandemic, we started to discuss a lot about generative AI. Okay, um, I believe it's a very diverse audience that we have today, and maybe there is a say, what do you call? Maybe you might be skeptical, maybe like with AI and so, how it's going to be shaping things in the future. Uh, with generative AI, definitely the time that it took when it comes to adoption among the professionals, organizations, was it was very rapid. And you saw that, say, every now and then. Okay, whether not only with, say, ChatGPT, maybe with respect to Gemini, or maybe say other tools as such, definitely a lot of things, a lot of tools, a lot of updates are coming up, and which is pretty much clear down the lane. All these tools, or maybe say AI, will really shape the entire working structure of organization and how businesses have been working. And that's where, say, for empowering businesses, okay, Microsoft has been there in the forefront for sure with its line of products integrated into the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. You have, interestingly, this Copilot being introduced. I'm pretty sure you all would have started using Copilot. You are using Copilot. If not, maybe post maybe today's session, maybe in a given some time, you will start using it as such around there. But yes, um, what Copilot really expands or tries to connect is that it brings a very enhanced ecosystem, a very particular paradigm that really say encourages, that really incorporates the possibilities of AI coexisting with respect to the current workforces. So where maybe as a team member, maybe you as a professional, you're going to be see leveraging the possibilities with artificial intelligence in your day-to-day task. And of course, what the organization expects is that you come up with, say, the best of your results by integrating technology. So that's where you see in this age of, say, digitization, all right, the kind of work that we particularly do, right, say you don't want to miss out on the opportunities depending upon different roles. Maybe you're a sales professional, maybe you are, say, someone from the marketing, maybe you are from the HR, maybe somebody is into maybe coding and so on. So again, every opportunity is something that you want to capitalize upon. And that's where you see the way, like what are the possibilities of transforming your work? What are the ways in which, what, say, how you can extend and take things to the next level with artificial intelligence is what we will be able to see as the Copilot system definitely tries to cater. And what really empowers these Copilot solutions is that you have these LLMs. I'm pretty sure if you have a generative AI, you would have heard about LLMs for sure, which stands for large language models. So the capabilities exhibited by your Copilot, again bounded within your organizational tenant, is again by that of these LLMs that are able to generate these content as such. And then say again, it has been integrated into your Web 365 suite. So you know that bunch of services that you are, applications that you have been using in your M365, maybe your Teams, maybe in your Power Platform, maybe in your Sentinel, maybe in your Power BI, maybe in your Office applications, you will see that your Copilot again works in leaps and bounds very particularly with respect to that. And this entire pattern, again, when working with a particular tool, an AI tool, like say a Copilot very particularly, the real question or the dilemma that we needs to that maybe a challenge can be is with respect to data, but we'll have to trust and we'll have with it is well in short with respect to Microsoft part, because Microsoft has been into this business for a while. So again, all the compliances, the standards, okay, the approach when it comes to protecting your organization data is taken care with respect to Microsoft delivering this solution as such. And that's where you will be able to harness the capabilities with artificial intelligence as you're working, or maybe you incorporate Copilot into your day-to-day task as such around there. Now, it's very important to understand. I'm not going to get into maybe all the intrinsic facets with respect to the Copilot because I'm pretty sure you all are here for, say, understanding of the prompting tips, maybe the tricks very particularly. Some of you are have started using. Maybe you want to say as a part of this class, maybe once we are done, maybe you will be looking for understanding very particularly how you can refine the possibilities with respect to Copilot. So it's very important that you understand, say, how Copilot works. So when it comes to Copilot, say it's an AI tool, right? It's an AI tool which is capable of engaging into conversations. Okay. And when we talk about AI, now what I always tell my participants or my learners is that if you can connect or say if you can understand like how AI is working, it becomes very easier to understand or maybe say retrieve the best of the results. So AI is in any form very particularly a way of mimicking human capabilities. So if I am able to engage into conversations, okay, definitely say there is an intelligence behind engaging conversations. Am I right? So again, you will see that a co-pilot as an AI assistant will be able to engage into conversations. So it tries to mimic, it is trained in such a way that it will be able to, your co-pilot will be able to say exhibit that same capability that you see across with respect to humans engaging into conversations. So that's where, say, whether you are into conversational intelligence, maybe to generate a specific, say, you ask a particular question, maybe I'm pretty sure you would have done with ChatGPT, Gemini, and so and so. Okay, uh, you would have already seen that when you ask some questions, again, the prior context of your, say, the conversation definitely plays a very, very impactful role. And that's where understand that your co-pilot works, okay, takes into account working with respect to contextual responses in the sense that, okay, in that flow of say, conversations, in the context of the very particular discussions and so on. So it starts to understand maybe what the question is all about, right? It starts to analyze the content as such around there and generate very particularly relevant insights. Again, depending upon what you're asking, maybe what is your need of that particular moment as such around there, coming up with these responses and those levels. And that's where, say, to transform the kind of work very particularly, it implements, okay, these skills which are artificially trained upon. So whenever you want to say search across different data, say assets, okay, or maybe say your data files very particularly, you will be able to search, okay, generate insights with respect to your data files when it comes to natural language phrasing, and of course some recommendations where you can improve your particular work as such. And then finally, see, again, it offers those capabilities when it comes to communication, maybe engagement, data analysis, maybe when it comes to security, presentations. We'll see some of them, okay, are very particular because my our focus is more on the prompting part and the tricks as such around there. But yes, you will be able to see that a real way of what, how enhanced, optimized way of work is something that you will be able to leverage as with respect to your co-pilot as such around there. And that's where, see, when you understand, this is a very interesting, maybe say, a flow chart very particularly that describes how you can, how the Copilot really works. Um, Now you all know that Copilot is a generative AI. See, it's an AI assistant, it has generative AI capabilities and so and so. So what happens is that, see, it's possible that you might think maybe the Copilot is very particularly using what you call, say, a very static question answer based kind of a scenario to work with. But in real sense, it's not that case as such. So for a co-pilot to work effectively, of course, you don't have the possibilities when it comes to what you say, regulating, managing the LLM and so on. So the data that was being used, but definitely from the UI part, you are going to be using the prompt. You're going to come up with your specific need, the specific motto, the specific goal that you want your co-pilot to be performing, which you will use your language of your choice, maybe your English, all right, for our part. And then on the UI of your Copilot, very particularly, you're going to supply that input as such. So there's an AI orchestrator that really comes into role play, okay, which necessarily see understands or see identifies very particularly how the data or the responses are to be brought in. by leveraging the possibilities with respect to some data sources, maybe the logic, workflow, the business logic, and so to be taken into consideration. Or maybe say you have extended the scope of your Copilot, or maybe you're working with respect to different tools and so on. So it is pretty much there. Or maybe using the LLM, which is an AI model very particularly, all right, again capable of generating responses as such around there, or maybe and generating content, real content, maybe image, maybe text, and so on. So what is happening here is that again all of this happens in the say in the boundaries, in the confines of your organizational data ecosystem, very particularly defined by your M365 tenant as such around there. So all see your Copilot makes sense with respect to your input prompts. Okay, your Copilot very particularly will understand what you're asking. So for example, if you're trying to say that, hey, generate a presentation on artificial intelligence, so what your Copilot, the AI orchestrator, will responsibly do that it's look out for those data sources, okay? Again, using those jargons, okay, those tokens very specifically to construct your responses as such. So that's where this masterclass really adds value to you listeners, you learners very particularly, because your prompt has, maybe your input has very specifically say uh, defined, or your input very particularly yields or shapes the particular response of your particular AI or your AI assistant, which is very particularly Copilot as such around there. And that's where, say, it is very important that we need to understand that what are the prompting facets that we are going to look at. Now, as the name suggests, it's a prompt. So the prompt is very particularly important, that decides the outcome that will be generated. And with every prompt, okay, irrespective of whatever the tool that you're going to work with, maybe you're going to work with Power Platform, maybe you're going to work with respect to, say, Sentinel, maybe you're going to work with respect to, say, what do you call, maybe in your Excel, maybe in your, say, Copilot Studio, wherever your Copilot is being integrated with. So you will construct a prompt very carefully. Okay, now I'm pretty sure there are a lot of terminologies, and out of which one of the famous one is definitely prompt engineering. All right, we talk a lot on prompt engineering because it itself has taken a particular shape when it comes to working with these generative AI solutions. So that's where you need to carefully construct these prompts, and these prompts should accommodate these four particular pillars to work in any of the scenarios as such. And that's where, say, given a particular prompt, all right, it is recommended that you incorporate a, the goal that you're looking at. Now, until and unless you explicitly say define what the goal is, okay, what your goal is, what is the motto of maybe say the input provided with, it becomes practically impossible for the Copilot to come up with, say, the response generated. So make sure when you construct these prompts, these inputs, okay, you explicitly say define, specify what the goal is that you're looking in. Say, for example, my goal is I'm looking for a presentation. My goal is I'm looking for maybe a paragraph. My goal is that I want to say analyze, I want to get summaries. I need to be explicitly mentioning that. Number two is that see the context very particularly, right? I told you your AI is all about what the context say this Copilot is all about contextual responses. So if you can connect the dots, if you can see interact very particularly to get in terms of the context of your say the response to be generated, because as you specify what is the need, maybe what are you looking for, what is the backdrop, what is the background. Say for example, I can come up and say that, hey, I'm a marketing professional, all right, and for I'm looking for a marketing campaign which where I want to introduce my say what do you call an AI based product as such around there. So that's where the context, the informations like maybe me being a marketing professional, maybe say looking for a marketing campaign, all of that is gonna be see. paving the way for the Copilot to understand the context very specifically. And that way, the Copilot will definitely be able to say, get into, or maybe say, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm just showing you an example rather than discussing from there. Let's say this is my Copilot chat. Let me show you an example that will really make sense what the context is all about. So, for example, say I can say that, okay, I am, okay, uh, uh, let's see, a product, say, engineer. All right. Okay. Now I give a very particular backdrop as such around there. Okay. Now, I am looking for developing, okay, mm, a very new product, okay, that helps, okay, IT professionals, okay, IT professionals in their line of work. Okay. Um, can you help me with some product ideas? All right, that incorporates, okay, AI, um, incorporates AI to help IT professionals, okay, for their well-being. Now, when I give a particular prompt, when I construct a say prompt, or maybe a request that I want to send to my Copilot very particularly, okay, when I construct a prompt as such around there, look at this part here. When you look at the part here, I can see that I'm a product engineer. Now, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say that, hey, Copilot, why don't you say on my behalf, maybe this is what I have in my mind, okay, why don't you help me with some ideations for a particular product? Now, I said the context very clear, the backdrop, the background is very much clear, well defined in terms of maybe a product engineer who is developing some product, and the goal is that it should really help what IT professionals in their well-being. All right. And the outcome that is expected here is that of a product idea. I am looking for some product ideas. Let's see whether the Copilot does the same or not. See, so I wouldn't say that the response is foolproof. Okay, but yes, you can see based upon my particular input. Okay, okay, that focuses on the well-being of the IT professionals. Okay, which Copilot thinks is very much something that can be impactful, and again to tackle with the burnout they might come in. It suggests me with respect to the detection and the wellness assistant, see a smart knowledge navigator, AI DevOps Copilot, the focus and flow state manager. You see the team sentiment and collaboration analyzer as such around there. Now look at this part here. All right, see what happened in my particular prompt. I had all that information that was the contextual had a real role play in terms of responsive. So for example, okay, I can come back here. Okay, once I maybe I have a list, okay. Uh okay, I can very particularly ask, all right, say I can ask question, okay, uh can you help me, okay, help me with the best CV strategy, all right, to develop w- one of the projects that will find great value. Okay, uh, let's see, especially mm, for professionals working in the night shifts. Okay, now look at this part here. So without even seeing me see uh, redrawing all the previous conversations, now when I give an input of this sort, okay, what is happening here? It comes with, say, some suggestions very particularly because it understands on the previous level, okay, what was my input, and thus it generates a particular response, understanding that, hey, say, with respect to the previous discussion as such around there, maybe some of the wellness products that can be considered for the IT professionals as such. And that way, my motto here was to make you understand that how particularly your Copilot really takes context, and that's where in your prompt, if you can incorporate context very specifically, the goal is very much there. But if you can incorporate those contexts of the conversations, definitely that will add more value as such around there. And then say it's possible that maybe you want to mm, say use some data sources. So if right now when I'm talking to you, there is a data source that's involved, right? Even though it's not tangible, but yes, maybe some examples, maybe something that I would have read and learned is what I'm using to communicate. So that will add, see, I would have read a lot of books, I would have say explored a lot of content as such around there. But I can see in this point of time, I understand that what looks better in terms of prompting and so on. So I'll try to maybe see my brain intelligently tries to bring those insights or those levels and come up with responses accordingly. And that's where you see even in your Copilot also, okay, maybe if you have some business documents, okay, if you want to increase maybe the relevance, accuracy, and so on. So that's where your say the data sources can be. You can incorporate some examples, okay, that coming into role play as such around there. And maybe you can very particularly explicitly say that, hey, how what kind of expectations, what kind of a behavior is that you're expecting, or maybe you want your Copilot to be exhibiting as such around there, so that again that becomes more relevant, that becomes more value added in the sense that it should meet your expectations. Am I right? So that's where you can see that, hey, I'm looking for such a kind of an output, I'm looking for ideas, I'm looking for brainstorming some ideas as such around there, I'm looking for very particularly going with respect to some say tabular content, I'm looking for very particular some sentiment being analyzed, maybe some data which is there in the out there in the market, and so on. So prompting is a really an art. Okay, so sometimes okay, users can get frustrated. Okay, in the sense that say what do you call when they try to give an input and they don't get the right expected results. They think that maybe the tool is say what do you call maybe misbehaving or the tool is not properly crafted. But again, I would always say that maybe with your patience, why don't we say try what do you call say improving our prompt and get the best results as such around there. Here is an interesting example. Just I'm just showing you, all right, in terms of maybe the breakdown that I talked about. Okay. Because as we are working with prompts, prompt engineering, or the tips very particularly, the tricks very specific to that, this is where you may want to see incorporate all these facets in its real sense. So look at this case here. Maybe I'm on the interface of the Teams. I wish I could have shown this, but I don't want to expose my corporate data. But yes, say, but maybe on your Teams channel, all right, you know that. Say, depending upon your role, maybe you would have a lot of engagements taking place on your Teams channel for sure. So it's possible that, say, to stay relevant, or maybe say you want to understand what are the latest conversations, you want to get insights very particularly with respect to the discussions that has taken place on the teams. That's where, say, I can come to my Copilot, my AI assistant, integrated within these tools as such around there, and I can start. Okay, my goal is that I need to get a recap of the meeting. Now, do we get to work with all of this in my Copilot? Or maybe what are the possibilities? What are the limitations when I use Copilot in my a particular meeting that has happened in the past? Again, there are certain constraints, like it has to be maybe recorded or it should have been transcribed as such around there. That's what the Copilot would be ready in your teams to generate responses with. But imagining that maybe I have done all that particular process, I can come back. My goal is that I want to get the recap. Maybe I want to just check, did I miss anything? Okay, that's where I can again, I can put that as a goal. Then the context is that, say, I see. Maybe I was very particularly late. All right. And then I want to understand the project timeline, the context very specifically. And then I can use maybe data sources. So, for example, maybe did a particular person, maybe was a discussion about a particular document, maybe a particular project. And then I can say that maybe, hey, Copilot, why don't you see include that timeline in the table? Now, see the expectation, how the responses are supposed to be shaped. All right. Like I'm looking forward a tabular, say a tabular value that I'm looking in, and any particular changes that is going to be coming into role play as such. So I can use when I construct a prompt, I can bring in all these pillars if I can ensure that again that way the copilot will make sense. Okay, because that's called as something called as in NLP, we call as semantic meaning extraction. Okay, we call it a semantic extraction. So given a particular input, it understands, hey, this is what the user's intent is. Every word that you have incorporated when it comes to goal, context, your say source, your expectations, and so on. So will all be attributed towards very particularly constructing or maybe a response that you will find very much relevant. And again, see, it is very much possible that you will be able to say construct these prompts and sometimes say in your line of work just to make you more excited very particularly, you can maintain this all into a prompt gallery. It's a very good practice among see again corporates or organizations very particularly because again see sometimes when you want to find that relevance, okay, accuracy, mm, with respect to these prompts as such around there, you can maintain a library of what successful prompts that you have come across your different tools, maybe your chat, maybe your Word, maybe your presentations, maybe your OneNote, maybe your Excel, Teams, maybe your Windows, and so on. So, and that's where you can use, say, this prompt gallery where you can maintain a pool of what say successful prompts, or maybe you can use these prompt templates that can be reused at very particular instances as such around there. So rather than being very particularly dynamic, of course, in the initial start, maybe you might be say piloting things accordingly. But once you find success in terms of a particular maybe a tool, maybe the response generated in a particular scenario, you can definitely say go with respect to the Copilot prompt gallery, and that way you will be able to get the best of the results in those scenarios. Then again, see, there are a bunch of say techniques that are available when it comes to prompt. Okay, again, just discussing these facets here when it comes to zero shot learning, which we definitely are using here, right? See, whenever you don't want to say generate prompts very specific, sorry, the responses very particularly based upon some examples, but rather you just go for maybe, hey, do this and that. That's it. Like one way, okay, of kind of an input very particularly where your LLM will be able to generate some responses based upon that. That's where your zero shot learning comes into role play where you don't say for example, okay, let's see, let me come back here. I can just say, okay, let's say generate, generate a paragraph, okay, on AI. It's a very good example of maybe a zero shot learning. Okay, where you see I didn't have any goal. Maybe say yeah, I had a goal very particularly, but you see that maybe the data sources, the context, all right, all of that is something not available. So maybe even this would work, but yes, from there this can be a very good starting point to get started off with. But yes, from there you can maybe if you think that there are some needs of some other incorporations, very particularly, you can improvise your prompts with respect to the right appropriate strategy for that matter. So in NLP, we call it a zero shot learning, but yes, that's something again that you can definitely be considering in these scenarios. You can go for few shot learning where you can say add some examples. Okay, that's where, say, for example, say I can come back here and tell that, okay, see, generate, okay, um, a paragraph, say on, say, what do you call, maybe say, um, robots of the future. All right, let's see. Hmm, let me think. Robots of the future. Um, okay, let's say as demonstrated. Okay, uh, in a sci-fi film. Mm, yeah. See, when you look at this part here, again, say, um, here I just said that he used maybe reference very particularly the iRobot, a sci-fi film as such around there. And based upon that, say it constructed very particularly a paragraph on the robots of the future. Okay, so what is happening here? I'm using few short learning. I'm using some samples, or maybe say I'm referencing to a particular, pointing to a particular data that maybe your Copilot can look into. Okay, when it comes to generating responses, and then again, okay, making it more relevant as such around there. And that's where the few short learning comes into role play. You can go for chain of thoughts very particularly with respect to the prompt engineering and so, where you can say break down your complex task. Now, it is again a very good practice that you can consider. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So it's a very good practice, chain of thought. It's a very good practice that you can consider because again, see, I have seen again with my experience with these trainees and so, um, maybe the task is so complex. Okay, maybe what the thing is, the more elaborative they can be on a particular prompt, it can yield the best of the results. See, I wouldn't suggest you going for that way. Okay, um, if you can structure, okay, your process, your task, your workflow, whatever it is that you're looking to achieve with Copilot, if you can break down into simple steps, okay, and then one after the other you can, if you can build it that up accordingly, then that way it will add more value, and that will add to the relevance of your responses that you want to have it constructed with respect to your Copilot or maybe any generative AI tool as such. Because say, because again, if you add more words, okay, if you increase that complexities and so on, so probably say again all those words, the correlations again will lead to a very jumbled responses as such. So if you're someone who's looking for say having some responses more and more, say what do you call, to be generated very particularly in terms of relevance, I would suggest you maybe to break down, maybe understand, maybe structure your thoughts one after the other to come around there. So let's say, let me ask a very interesting question to Copilot. Again, just the suddenly had come up to my mind when I'm talking about this. So let's ask Copilot. Uh, okay, uh, what are your suggestions? Okay, when composing prompts. Okay, now this is again another way of what we will be able to use Copilot, okay, as an assistant, AI assistant. So I'm asking Copilot, what are your suggestions when composing prompts to get uh, best of the results from you? clear? I just said, right? I talked about this very particularly. You will have to be very clear, specific, right? See, provide the context, define the format and the style. That is your expectation, the way it should behave very particularly. You can ask follow-up questions. Again, that's a good practice very particularly. You can use examples. That's what I talked about, few short learning. Okay, in prompting. You'll have to break down your complex request and use natural language. Okay, again, use say you need not have to say use technical jargons and so on. So just you can use what say natural language in all these scenarios. So even Copilot itself says what is the best way to learn from a person is that if we can understand the person from the same horse's mouth really particularly, we can just definitely say ensure that we get relevant responses being constructed in these scenarios. So as I said, maybe it can be a it can be zero shot learning, it can be few shot learning. Maybe you break down that complex request by again by the process in prompt engineering, we call it as what you call we call it as chain of thoughts. But yes, you can definitely be using that in this scenario to get the best responses constructed as such around there. And then maybe say again a very advanced prompting technique that you can do is that okay, again to generate possibly the accurate answers by generating knowledge prompting as such around there. And again, say you can make it it will be really insightful and again that way you will be able to get the best responses in these scenarios with respect to the performance that you're expecting to be exhibited by your co-pilot. So different strategies, maybe again, as you start evolving, as you start to deploying all these facets, okay, you will be able to leverage its possibilities in these scenarios. And that's where, say, again, your co-pilot really helps. Okay, I'll show you with a demonstration on all what I'm discussing here in certain tools. Okay, we'll get into the tools part very soon. But before that, let's take a quick short break. And once we are back, we can continue further ahead.
Thank you so much, Jeenu. Hello, everyone. I am Priya, and now I would like to take over and go through the badge redemption part. I'm excited to announce that all the participants in today's masterclass have been given a free exclusive access to MS 4018 courseware. The best part is you also get to claim your digital achievement badges on Microsoft Learn to celebrate your fundamental skilling journey. Issued by Microsoft, these badges can help you highlight your newly acquired skill and boost your career potential. Let's take a quick look at the steps that you need to follow. So this is our badge redemption page, and on right hand side you can see a QR over here, and if you have your mobile phone handy you can scan this and you can use our mobile phone landing page to redeem your courseware or certificate. And if you're currently on your PC or laptop, you can see this button over here. This is a clickable button and you can use this button to redeem your courseware or certificate. Let's quickly see three steps that you need to follow. So first, sign into your Microsoft Learn account using your personal or professional Outlook or Hotmail account. And if you're already signed in, you will directly be seeing step 2 with redeem your code dialog already pre-filled over there. You can see this button over here. This button is also clickable. You can also use this to redeem your courseware or certificate. Now, step 2 is your unique code will already be pre-filled over there. You don't have to hit anything over here. You just need to click on redeem button to redeem your courseware or certificate. Now, step 3 is you'll receive a message indicating that your achievement has been added to your profile. You just need to click on view profile button and now you can access your Microsoft official courseware module from the training tab. Now we'll quickly show you an example of how your badge redemption page would look like. You need to follow three steps to download or generate your certificate. First, you need to click on achievements, then courses, Now you can see a printer icon over here. You just need to click on this button to generate or download your certificate. Now, if you have any question related to this, our team is there in chat to help you with that. You can just type your question and they will help you. And with that, I would like to leave you for the break. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sure, we are now going to take a 5-minute break, but before we do that, we are going to launch a quick poll that we want to invite you to participate in. Doing so helps us know how we can better serve you by telling us who might be interested in more information or in taking some additional training. In addition, we have a lot more informative webinars coming up, so please go to netcomlearning.com/webinars in order to register.
And here we proceed further on this particular part of the journey to explore some of the demonstrations that I have for you guys with respect to Copilot. So that's where your Copilot really helps in terms of your automation, AI-driven insights as such around there. So when it comes to working with your repetitive tasks, okay, maybe if you are a professional who does a lot of repetitive tasks, your Copilot can be really beneficial. Now, I wouldn't say that just stick to Copilot, but again, say with Copilot, with the integration with other possibilities and so and so, you can extend the frontiers, okay, of your collaboration, your productivity capabilities that we are looking at. And you can, of course, get these AI-driven insights. Okay, you can integrate it with different tools, collaborate accordingly on your teams, your Outlook, and so on. So, and definitely you can save a lot when it comes to working with, say, a lot of work that you get to achieve with respect to the Copilot part. Let me come here. Let me just show you some possibilities that does exist with Copilot. Let me try to understand, say again, just giving you some ideas here in its real sense, okay, that can be really be beneficial. Let me start by using, say, Copilot, okay, in my Copilot chat. Now, for example, say, let's say you have the right licenses being enabled. Uh, this is again in your Copilot chat. You have work mode. You can have web mode very particularly. Okay, your work mode will be more contextualized in terms of your line of work. Whereas whenever you want to have, say, responses coming from all the way from that of, say, uh, web-based resources. Okay, uh, that's where, say, your Copilot being enabled on the web mode can really, really be beneficial as such around there. So let's say that having here maybe in the Copilot chat, let's try to say use some prompts very particularly and use it in the line of work. Okay. So for example, let's say maybe I am working for a particular company, all right, maybe a particular of a particular size, all right, and I am been communicating with the hiring team. All right, and now what I want is, see, I want to prepare for the interview. Okay, so we will understand how very particularly, say, um, how we can prepare some, say, some outlines in these levels as such around there in your Copilot chat, or very particularly in these scenarios as such around there. So what I'm going to do is here, say, let's say, for example, being an HR very particularly, let's say, okay, um, can you provide me with, okay, uh, the relevant skills, okay, um, for an AI engineer with uh, for a mid-size company, okay, uh, okay, for a mm, mid-level. So now look at this case here. It's expected that your HR is not an AI professional, am I right? Your HR is not somebody who is a technocrat, but definitely HR knows how to hire the right person for the organization. So of course they would be doing some kind of an investigation, am I right? So this is where your co-pilot can really be beneficial. Okay. See, when it comes to identifying doing the market research. So I am in my very particularly the Copilot chat, all right. Say, and what I can definitely do is I can very particularly say use the capabilities of generative AI, the Copilot very particularly, where impacted by terms like mid-level AI engineer, the size of the company, all right, and so on. So it suggests me with respect to some of the skill sets that can be really be beneficial. Now, imagine maybe say me as an HR, maybe I go back to, I do this research, I go back to my project manager and tell that, hey, this is what I have found. Do you agree to what we had generated? So definitely maybe the project manager says it looks very well and good. Why don't you say use this, okay, in terms of what, say, creating or maybe say working with respect to maybe creating a JD for this. So what I can definitely do is I can say, let me copy this very particularly. All right. All right. Say maybe I have the core technical skills as such around there. What I can definitely do is I can very particularly go to my Microsoft Word. All right. Say Mm, just a second. Let me create a blank document. Okay, now let me paste this. Let me allow the access. Okay, let me paste what I had copied. Yeah. Mm, let me have this being removed. Okay, so let's say mm, I give the name of the document as AI engineer, the skills. Okay, let me allow the access. Perfect. Okay. All right, so I have some data. Now look at this part here, very important. See, when I ask this very particular question, see my prompt, my motto, my goal, my context is well defined as such. Okay. Now, since I'm looking for productivity, I can what particularly do is I can come back again, file, new, a blank document that I can open up. Now, what I will do is, okay, I can use the previous document. Now, again, I'm just constructing, I'm just like trying to connect in terms of the loop. Okay. I'm very particularly looping my work. All right. Creating a chain of actions that can be really be beneficial in this particular scenario. So what I'm going to do here is that I can ask Copilots. Now, I'm not sure whether, see, how many of you have started using Copilot in your office applications. But when it comes to, say, your Word document very particularly, you have two possibilities. One is that you can open your Copilot in the draft mode. Number two is that you can use Copilot in that of your what do you call say the chat mode. Okay, so this is where whenever you want to use your Copilot as an AI assistant, maybe you want to ask questions and so on, so that can be done. Okay, now look at this case here. In my line of work, say maybe the article, the analyze, the proposals, and so on. So it gives me a lot of templates that are available. I'm not going to get into that, but let me try to do something here very interesting. Okay, now since I have this particular document that was being ready here, okay, I can say that, okay, create a job description. Now look at this case here. This is again, you should connect the points that I'm trying to talk about. Okay. I am say trying to understand, making you understand the prompt here. So my motto, my goal is that I'm looking for a job description for the role of AI engineer. Okay. Mm, yeah. In the mid-level based on the skill sets, okay, skill sets mentioned in the document attached. Now look at this case here, okay. Now, are you someone who takes a lot of time when it comes to typing, maybe going through the documents as such around there? That's where your tool, your with your prompts, with your right prompts on the right tool, which is your Copilot, very particularly you can have, see, the best of your productivity being enhanced. That's where, see, I can very particularly see that, hey, I am, just a second, I'm going to attach this particular document, my file very particularly. So what happens is that on the construct of my input prompt, now you look at this, my prompt is having the goal, all right, it's giving me the, say, the context very specifically, and I am looking for what, say, a data source, which is the AI engineer skills document that is available. I can run this and let's see what happens. Okay, look at this case here. So here is a very, now look at, it's a two-page, say, response that is being created. Okay, so maybe say I can go through this again, don't go without proofreading. It is very important that you'll have to take into accommodation when working with these tools. But yeah, look at the time that it had saved for me. Okay, with my prompt, okay, if you think that if it really misses anything, or maybe blame on me, maybe the prompt is what the reason is, or maybe say, for example, you want to make changes here accordingly. All right. Make it say, I can say that I want to have a JD very particularly. Okay, make it more, say, simple and structured, say, document to be shared with the potential, say, candidate. Okay. And let's see what happens. Now, again, what is happening here is, again, making use of the same document based upon my jargons, my words, terminologies, and so on. So it tries to reconstruct the responses. Now, if you are, now this is where something you need to understand. Say, when you're working with your Copilot within your Word as such, right now it's working in the draft mode. Now, if you're okay with this version of the draft that was being created, you can hit keep it. Maybe you want to regenerate, maybe that can be done. Maybe you want to use some other words, maybe some technical words. If you want to make changes accordingly, you can definitely be doing that. Maybe you want to delete this entire draft, you can do that accordingly. So let's keep this up. Okay. Okay, this is pretty much possible. Like, see, it's a two-page document. Not maybe the time that it would have gone into maybe typing all these facets. It's really been simplified. So for me as an AI, maybe an HR person, all right, say this entire detailed description JD for the particular role has really been simplified just by using this Copilot. And how did I do that? Very simply by using the right prompt, adding more of the value accordingly as such around there. This is pretty much possible. So here again, you are using your Copilot very particularly. All right. See, and then what we can definitely do is again use it. Maybe you want to use it in the next level. Maybe you want to use it in composing your emails and so on. So maybe you want to communicate with your team on the right channel as such around there. All of that is pretty much possible. So here, what is happening here? We had used, say, your Copilot in that of, say, what do you call in my Microsoft Word. Now you saw my prompts. Now, when I get a response of this sort, very particularly, this can be really beneficial. So here, again, when it comes to content creation, maybe say re-rafting certain things, okay, maybe getting the insights from some business documents, all right, and then constructing responses on those levels, it was pretty much possible with respect to the Copilot that we had used in this case. Okay, and maybe I have this pretty much ready. What I can definitely do is I can let me try opening my Outlook. Just a second. Mm, using my Outlook as such here. Okay, um, perfect. So now maybe see deriving from the previous line of work very particularly. All right, say I'm going to be using my Copilot in my Outlook as such, okay, and get the best of the results in these scenarios. So now let's do one thing. We will say again, do not forget, see, I'm using Copilot in different scenarios as such around there. So think from those perspective. Again, I want to bring it in my Copilot. Now I want to say compose, draft an email with my Copilot in my Outlook as such around there. Okay, so let's say I can say start. I can come to my Copilot again. Say here once we start. Just a second. Let me try enabling the Copilot. Yes. Now I can start by drafting. Okay, so for example, let's say, um, yeah, I can say this here in my Copilot very particularly. All right, say, um, draft, draft, uh, email to say to be shared with the potential the job applicant. All right, for the role role of say AI engineer. Okay. Mm, say mid-level role of an AI engineer. Uh, use the document attached for reference. Let's see. Let's use this. Just give me a minute. Let's try to. Okay, let's say let's attach this particular file. Okay. Yeah. So now you see here again you have used your Copilot very particularly. All right. Again, maybe 3 lines, 4 lines, or 5 lines very specifically. You can see that again, this was being composed by the Copilot as such. Now, I wouldn't say that this is foolproof, maybe say, but yes, you have opened your Copilot in your draft mode, and then you're trying to say what create a particular email where you want to collaborate with your team for a particular potential applicant to come up with maybe say responses or maybe say to look into the kind of role. And this is where once we are done, we can definitely leverage the possibilities of Copilot maybe to analyze the email and so on. So the Copilot can come with suggestions as such around there. So let's say, hmm, yeah. So look at this part here. I can see the Copilot suggests me with respect to the tone, all right. Say maybe the reader sentiments, maybe clarity and so on. So I can use this and then again change this entire part. Let me apply the suggestions offered by Copilot. Okay, let me try to replace this as such. Yeah, I can definitely be attaching my document. Okay, needed. Yes. So what happens is that again, maybe you want to have a professional tone, maybe you want to work on those scenarios as such around there. I can definitely be able to do the scenario. So what is happening here is that my prompts are say crafted again depending upon my role, depending upon my tool very specifically. I with my specific motto in my mind, I can definitely say change my prompts accordingly and then get those results within your Outlook and so on. So now I can use the same Copilot. Okay, I can very particularly go with the same Copilot even in my Word also. Well, in my Word, you saw that me being using it. But let's try to use my Copilot in my PowerPoint. And let me show you what happens when we come to the PowerPoint part. Let's open PowerPoint. Okay, just a second. Let's see. Sorry. Hmm, let me create a blank presentation. Okay, look at this case here. I'm working with see, we can leverage the possibilities with Copilot. All right. when it comes to creating new content. Maybe if you already have an existing content very specifically, you can say use Copilot on all those levels. Now, right now, when I'm in this particular presentation, say for example, maybe I want to maybe me as a trainer, I want to teach on artificial intelligence. Okay, and you know that PowerPoint presentations are really, really helpful in those scenarios. So that's where, say, again, I can use the content generation capabilities with Copilot. So, for example, I want to use, say, some web-based data assets. So let's say create a presentation um, on, say, artificial intelligence. Okay, now, I can see that focus be very specific. Okay, focus on, say, use cases and benefits. Okay, benefits for what you call, say, um, say, tech professionals. Okay, uh, when using AI for their day-to-day work. See, the given input prompt was able to generate, say, for say 20 slides with just two lines of instructions, or maybe the prompt very particularly. Let's try to generate it. Yeah. See here, let's keep this and let me change it. Yeah. See, 23 slides. Okay, I wouldn't say that all is something like well to go with, but yes, you can see here, this is really helpful. Now, this is where, say, the content generation capability of your Copilot comes into role play, all right, with your right prompts. So whenever, again, whenever you are interacting with your Copilot in your Teams, maybe in your Outlook, maybe in your PowerPoint, and so on. So again, that specific, say, contextualized input prompts will really, really shape your responses. And you should know that how it can be really, really be beneficial. Okay, let's say I am creating a particular document of this sort. Say, for example, maybe you want to create a presentation. Let's say we want to create a new presentation, and let me see if I can have some document here. Okay, so for example, I already have some business document that is there in my maybe my OneDrive asset. Okay, now I want to create a presentation with a particular file, and I can see, uh, let's see, yeah. Okay, let me just a second. Yeah, let me use this particular document. Okay, I have some, say, EV charger and so on. So I can use this here. So a lot of time goes into maybe you analyzing a particular document, right? And then constructing a PowerPoint. Maybe if you are folks like me, like where there is a lot of time that goes into creating PowerPoint presentations, I find this tool a very, very helpful one in the sense that, see, it saves me with a lot of time. Okay. Maybe say the question here arises, hey, to what extent maybe this can be so creative. So guys, if you can, I believe that if you can say verbalize or maybe say if you can put very particularly into your prompts, okay, in terms of maybe the kind of creativity that you want to exhibit in any particular instance, that will be really be beneficial. Now, so what happened here is I got 22 slides. Now, obviously, with some say there can be possibility that there is a need for some refinement as such around there. I completely agree. But what I am trying to say is that when you have a foolproof document, okay, when you have decided your templates and so, again, you will be able to see that your co-pilot within your word is also generating what. So look from that perspective. When I said when you are working with your prompt, you need to have a goal, you need to have a context, right? Maybe you want to ground it with respect to some data sources, and then you're expecting that, hey, this is a slide. Now, in this all my part of the lab, you would have seen me just saying that, hey, I'm looking for so and so presentation based upon a document. Maybe you want to see that, hey, I'm looking for 20 slides, I'm looking for 15 slides, and so on. So even that is something which we can definitely be processing it all together. And then say, so whether it is all for say content creation, maybe say very particularly creating your presentations, maybe fetching some data as such around there, all these prompts are going to play very interesting roles as such around there. Maybe say, for example, in case if you want to work with your, maybe I am not sure, maybe there are some data professionals here, and I understand, say, working with data can really, really be complex, right? So that's where you see, hmm, let me log into my Excel. Let me, yeah. So even in my Excel, very particularly, I can be using my Copilot. Okay. So for example, let's say, okay, I can just simply say, uh, okay, create a table for a budget with 10 rows and five, maybe say instead of 10 rows, I'm just using some again to explain very particularly what is happening. Okay. Mm, say 50 rows, uh, say populate the rows with, let's see, yeah. Mm, just a second. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's keep this. Okay. Yeah. Now, what has happened here in this case is when we were working, let me try to bring it to the center. See, perfect. Okay. So we have maybe a particular data that again, I'm just simply going to work with respect to some dummy data here. Again, if you want to be using Copilot again to create content as such, so maybe you want to do some research, right? Maybe as a data professional, and you want to say, you see my prompts really shaping that particular response here in this case. I can be using this, okay, and I can be benefited by my the Copilot in terms of the response to be constructed. Say, for example, maybe I want to do an analysis. Okay, see here, I want to get, say, the various data insights accordingly. I'm just using some templates very particularly, but yeah. So one was where I used Copilot in my draft mode. One was where I used my Copilot in the chat mode. Now in the chat mode, I'm interacting, hey Copilot as an assistant, why don't you show me some data insights? Okay, let me have it verified. Okay, see, so the Copilot analyze, here is what they found, the actual amount by item name and so on. So the sum of actual amount by item name includes for the rent and so on. So maybe say, maybe if you want to add another insight, you can do that. There is a food has a noticeably lower difference. Maybe let's see whether is there any other insight. The housing has noticeably higher planned amount. Okay, is there any other insight that we can come up with? Okay, so here let's add all of these insights into another grid as such. So on a new sheet, you see all the insights generated have been incorporated. So maybe whenever you want to ask very particularly some questions, now see, now I sometimes believe, no, I would it be right or not? See, uh, see, your Excel as a tool can be sometimes very much complex for some of them. Okay, except for those professionals who have been using Excel for a while, who understands the all the intrinsic factors of your Excel, it's well and good to go with. But in some scenarios, it can be a difficult tool. Maybe you might take a lot of time to come into understanding what is being represented, how to do certain things, maybe some complex formulas and so on. So that's where you say again you can use your Copilot very particularly to work with respect to what say understanding some formulas also. So maybe you see that maybe a particular column is behaving, maybe you calculated something you don't understand, maybe how it works, maybe you want to do some conditional formatting, maybe you want to know how certain formulas can be created. So you can ask those questions with your Copilot as such around there. And the real benefit is that, say, again, as I said, say your prompts are going to play a very, very crucial role here. Okay, so you need to, again, so if you're looking for summaries, if you're looking for insights, if you're looking for understanding some formulas, maybe say if you want to apply some conditional formatting as such around there, all of that has to be taken or brought into the context as such. And that way, you will be able to get the best of the results in terms of constructing the responses as such around there. So it should be clear from now, like say with all the examples that I just showcased, okay? Maybe now, maybe you want to try it in your teams, go ahead. The possibility is that say you can say that, hey, generate a summary of my maybe the interaction with a certain person, maybe on this particular date. Okay, even in your Copilot here, also say you can contextually move your work and with respect to your say different team members, maybe say different meetings, maybe different interactions, different content that will be shared with you. You can start asking questions about the particular part accordingly. So, but whenever you are going to be doing that, ensure that, guys, it's very, very important that your prompts are very important. So again, irrespective of whatever the tool, okay, you know that what a particular tool. My motto here is not to make you understand what a tool can do. My motto is that the importance of your prompts. And that's where, see, when you understand, hey, this is what my tool is able to generate me with, this is what my data looks like, I can contextually build my questions or maybe see my prompts around those lines and have the responses generated on those lines as such around there. And that's where it is very particularly important to identify what can be the best practices. Okay, now for example, say again, maybe you want to analyze long thread of emails. It's very much possible. Okay, contextually it understands, maybe say, maybe you want to understand the interaction that you have been going for the past 30 days with respect to a particular team member. In your Teams channel, you can definitely. So when you carefully construct these prompts, all right, that will yield in terms of the best of the responses. So you can again enhance, maybe you want to very particularly come up with those insights as such around there. Okay, the capabilities of summaries, all right, maybe the data, the variations, and so on. So the prompts will be really, really helpful. So if when you incorporate all these facets in your prompt along the line of work that you're trying to do, that will add more depth, more value to that. So let's try to understand some of the best practices, what I think can be really be helpful for you for an effective collaboration with your co-pilot for sure. See, uh, again, it's a very, very iterative process. Okay. Maybe down the lane when you become an expert, a pro along those lines, this can be really be say you will see that more refinements coming in. But yes, as a professional, as you get start to use this AI tool, okay, that is your co-pilot very particularly. I have some suggestions very specific to you all. And that's where when you're constructing these prompts, again, we did discuss that. Okay, the best practices is that being very simple. Okay, being very clear, being will let your prompt be so qualitative in terms of the output that will be generated as such around there. Do not include those jargons that leads to ambiguity. It is very important. Okay, do not blindly trust the responses. Okay, ensure that again you will have to proofread it as a human. Now, I always tell this when you're working with a tool like Copilot. Okay, you need or you should ensure that your co-pilot is very particularly on the say co-pilot seat. Do not place it on the pilot seat. You will be on the pilot seat. It's under your direction, under your verification, under your validation is when it's going to be proceeding further ahead. So that's where it will be required very every now and then. You will have to review the outputs generated by the co-pilot and definitely say check. You know what your organization needs, right? You know what your business needs. So that's where you'll have to authenticate it, validate it, and then that's when you're going to proceed further ahead. Of course, feedback will be very important. Interact very particularly, understand and construct response. So if you remember, one of the things that we discussed in terms of the best response that can be say considered here, let's say in that history, say where did it say overview? Yeah, just a second. Let's see. Okay, we miss here? I guess we missed it here. Okay, fine. Just a second. There was this part. Okay, I guess, yeah, that's gone. So one of the suggestions that it had given, the co-pilot had given is that, hey, why don't you say feedback? How do you say on a chain of thoughts, maybe very particularly acknowledge, affirm what are the responses accordingly. And that way your co-pilot will be able to understand that, okay, the precision, the response thus constructed. Uh, do not rely a lot, but yes, unlock creativity, construct your prompts very particularly. Now, there are different ways in which you can say extend the possibilities with your co-pilot, no doubt on that. Okay, there are different ways that you will be able to do that. But yeah, say you will be able to ensure that say with your prompts, okay, because as you bring in your expertise, when you construct the prompts along those lines, you will be able to what push creativity on those levels. How do you want to construct responses? Again, prioritize privacy and security, all right, in this any particular scenario as such around there. And of course, stay updated. Okay, so regularly understand very particularly what are the changes that are coming in, okay, the capabilities on those levels, and get the best of the results in these scenarios as such around there. So it should be very clear, all right, say you will use this, the tool is pretty much say available across say different say what do you call these applications that you're going to be starting to use with, but your prompts, okay, that's where do not worry, your AI is not going to eat your job, but someone who uses AI as say the NVIDIA CEO say has to say very particularly the one who uses AI will have a definite upper hand. So that's where you can come in, you can very particularly say bring in, okay, what are the responses again, and then you can put your task again. For example, if you want to leverage the possibilities and extend things further ahead with respect to automation and so on, so maybe you want to integrate with Power Automate, maybe you want to create custom co-pilots, maybe you want to extend with respect to plugins, connectors, all right, maybe you want to interact with some external systems as such around there. Even those possibilities does exist, but as you get started, as you get ventured very particularly, I'm pretty sure you're going to come with respect to your prompts in terms of understanding how it works. And then later on, you are going to be pushing things to the further ahead to come up with the best, say, the possibilities to extend, and it will really work wonders for you, for your organization, very particularly to come with, say, again, getting the best yield or the best responses in each of these scenarios as such around there. So that's what, say, I wanted to communicate, maybe some of the things, some of the strategies that you can consider when it comes to working with these particular tools or with respect to Copilot. So with that, let's do a quick, say, review of what we had discussed today. All right, in terms of making you understand, maybe say the tips and so on. So we did understand what Copilot is all about, right? We understood the orchestration of the entire workflow with respect to Copilot, right? And especially your prompts, your tokens, your inputs, very particularly, say, will play a very, very crucial role. And that's where we saw some of the prompting techniques that you can accommodate, especially when it comes to the goal, the context, incorporating data sources. Am I right? And of course, the kind of expectation, a kind of behavior, when you can very particularly bring that, okay, bind that within your particular prompt, that will yield accurate and relevant responses. Okay, and that's where you have to ensure you are working with you create these prompts on those levels to get the best of the results in any particular scenario, whether you're working with Power Platform, whether you're working in your office tools, maybe you're working in Windows. But yes, the prompts will play a very, very crucial role. And then of course you can use again Copilot when it comes to your workflows, maybe analyzing long thread of emails, maybe working with respect to repetitive tasks. You can leverage the possibilities with Copilot when it comes to analyzing large documents, okay, um, reading large thread of emails, the communications that has taken place in your Teams channel, okay, and you can leverage the possibilities of AI generated insights that could have been taken into account. And finally, we saw some best practices because again, you are on the driving seat very particularly. How do you want to steer, or maybe say, how do you want to see turn things around with respect to your prompt? Okay, when we're making it very much simple, being very much precise. All right, again, with respect to maybe the feedback mechanism, the context that you're going to be taking into account, all of this is something that will be really, really be beneficial in these scenarios as such are all there. So do not stop. Okay, you will see that you will see the question arises as a new tool. You might think that, hey, if you are someone very newbie, maybe say arriving or maybe say finding the grounds with respect to this tool might take a bit of time, but I'm pretty sure even if you are exploring very particularly down the lane, you are going to find a lot of possibilities, saving a lot of time, all right. And strategically, you will come up with, say, new ideas when it comes to being very much creative. Okay. And that way, you really help your organization to yield the best of your results in a potential manner in any particular scenario. So please don't stop here. Go ahead, start using trying Copilot in your day-to-day tasks. Be creative with the prompts very specifically. Understand how step into the shoes of thinking from the perspective of Copilot as you construct say these particular prompts in any of your line of work to augment your business task as such around there. Before we wind up or before we say proceed further, I would like to talk about, say, what can be the next steps. Okay. As a Microsoft certified trainer, it becomes my responsibility being a brand ambassador, very particularly on those levels. Okay. The kind of value that I have been reaping with Microsoft certifications, I want my trainees, my listeners, you guys to really leverage the possibilities as such around there. Now, it goes without saying, okay, the brand itself is Microsoft, and it comes with a lot of value when it comes to its specific certifications. So, again, here in the slide, we speak about, say, the kind of recognition, the kind of value the certification brings, all right, when it comes to maybe the perks, when it comes to maybe, say, being employable, right, and so on. So if you're someone who really wants to stand out in this large market, okay, and again, validating your particular skills, showcasing your expertise in certain areas and domains, we have bunch of certifications and courses along the line with respect to Microsoft, okay, so that you we value our customers, value our clients very specifically. So again, we also understand very particularly the value of certifications also, and we always have been embracing very particularly lifelong learning, and that's where say we put this to you that consider yourselves being certified with respect to some Microsoft certifications along your professional roles to stand out among your peers. Is it just our own suggestion? No, guys. Here is a very intensive research that we put forward in front of you guys, you folks, to really accommodate. Okay, think about the possibilities of these certifications where you can have say this particular handout being downloaded. Okay, which speaks about the meaning of certifications where through continuous learning, all right, the value Microsoft certification brings onto the table, where organizations, where employees have been radically impacted, okay, benefited when it comes to say the certifications for that matter. And that's where we want you all to see grab the best of this opportunity that is available. All right, say in terms of say ensuring that you're certified, you stay relevant in terms of the changing landscape, especially in the context of AI and so on. So rather than say when you are updating very particularly instead of AI replacing you, you stay relevant and add more value to your organization as such around there. So whether it's your business, okay, maybe whether your career, guys, please consider say getting certified with a bunch of say Microsoft certified courses that we have in house very particularly. Again, lot of benefits that can be taken or the which has been highlighted. So all these certifications. So when you enroll for the certification course with respect to we at Netcom, okay, say get benefited with respect to say being interacting, being sitting under the expertise of these Microsoft certified trainers. One among them is definitely me. There are other trainers definitely expect 180 days of labs to practice. Okay, that's something very important, right? Getting these recordings for 90 days. We value our customers, we value our learners, so you will have a very unified, say, unique experience being offered on this particular portal, which is your Netcom 365 Learner portal, with some exclusive access to some study materials, content, and so on. So and with a very highly available support team to help you along your learning journey as such around there. A few things that I wanted to highlight with respect to Microsoft certifications. So in case if you're getting planning to get yourselves enrolled and getting yourself certified, so your certification, all right, say you can maintain your certifications at no cost in the sense that once you clear, okay, it's a one-time investment. So as long as your certification is active, within those period, if you try to say renew your certifications, it's gonna cost you not even a single penny. But and this is for your associate level certifications as such around there. So you can start say to you can renew your certifications 6 months prior to your expiration date. All right. For fundamental level certifications, it's lifelong available. You need not have to renew it. But yes, for associate level, you definitely have to renew it, say 6 months prior to the date of expiration at no cost. If it expires and then you try to renew it, then that's it. Maybe you'll have to retake the exam, repay the amount as such around there. So stay updated very particularly. All right. And again, you can, with respect to different versions, the changes that is going to be made available, being benefited along those lines as such around there. So don't stop from here. Okay. Um, go get yourselves trained, stand out in the market. All right. Start making impact. Okay. On your organization, maybe with respect to your business, the kind of task and so to be really be benefited with. All right. All right, it's time to embrace some questions. Let's see if we have, see, some questions to be accommodated with. Let's embrace some questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Gino. That was most informative. I know everyone is looking forward to the Q&A session, so go ahead and start putting your questions into the questions panel. And while you do that, I would like to give the presentation rights over to Sagnik, our vendor manager, to introduce you to our promotions and webinar related courses.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Hello, everyone. So as you can see on my screen, this is the event handout that you all have received. Once again, we thank you all for taking out the time and joining our masterclass today. As part of this handout, you'd see the content section wherein the different sections within the document have been listed here, and everything is hyperlinked. So you can quickly use these links to jump to the specific section of the document. Before we proceed, it's worth mentioning that Netcom Learning, we are the proud winners of the Microsoft Partner of the Year award for 2 years in a row. So as we say, the legacy continues. In 2022, we were the Partner of the Year worldwide, and in 2023, we were the Partner of the Year for United States. And we are also a Microsoft Cloud Solutions partner. That means that we have capabilities across all the 6 solution areas recognized by Microsoft. A few more things about us. We are in the training industry for over 25 years now, having serviced over 80% of the Fortune 1000 companies, serviced 100 plus US military bases. Overall, we have trained 1 million plus professionals across 36,000 plus unique enterprises, and we enjoy a 96% recommendation rate from our customers. All our trainings on Microsoft are delivered by instructors that are certified and authorized by Microsoft. And our overall instructor pool stands at about 3,200 plus certified professionals. We are your one-stop solution for all your corporate upskilling needs with official training across every major technology and business solution provider. So as we can see over here, we are an authorized training partner for all the industry leaders across Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, CompTIA, PMI, EC Council, and others. Now, within this handout, you would also find this particular page wherein you can find the session recording. You can use the link to access the recording for today's session and revisit the concepts that were covered in today's masterclass. On this page, you'd find the link to access your complimentary courseware and the digital badges. The same landing page that we covered at the beginning of my presentation. You can find the direct access link here, and the link to which is also available on your chat on GoToWebinar. Also, all the participants will be given access to Netcom 365. It is our student portal that includes a lot of features and resources for you to take advantage of to supercharge your skilling journey. All you need to do if you're accessing it and activating it for the first time is set up your password and then you'd be good to go. We highly recommend everyone to explore our learning portal to take full advantage of all your skilling resources. Now let's quickly take a look at some of the latest offers on Microsoft trainings and certifications. First off, we have the Microsoft Quick Start program, which is applicable across the entire portfolio, encompassing Azure, Security, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. It is truly the best in class exclusive enterprise discount offering on your end-to-end Microsoft training across the official portfolio. The pricing model is quite simple and straightforward. If you have a team, if whether you are a large organization or a small organization, and you have a team to train across departments or within the same department, we have two options for you depending on your team size. If you are looking to train more than 15 learners, you would be getting a flat discounted pricing of $300 per day per learner. And of course, as the number of days for the particular training increases, the amount also increases, but you get significant savings on this. If you are having a smaller team, that is 14 learners or less, then you still are entitled to a $400 discounted flat pricing per day per learner. This really accounts to huge savings when it comes to large scale uh, training. So we highly recommend everyone to get in touch with us, explore the offering by clicking on the link provided in this handout. And all your trainings can also be customized based on the specific projects and workloads that you and your team, your organization is working on. And our industry specific subject matter expertise encompasses a wide range of verticals, as you can see over here, from banking and financial services, healthcare, federal and state and local government, to education, energy, manufacturing, retail, consumer goods, and more. Also, we have a Netcom Plus subscription available for all the attendees. In case you are looking to have an annual subscription plan, you are comfortable learning at your own pace, a self-paced learning modality in the form of e-learning, this is the ultimate solution for your requirements, right? So you get access to 600 plus courses and 40 AI exam certifications, all at a price of only $399 per learner annually, right? So for only less than the price of a single seat, right, of a course, you get an year-long subscription model. You get an year-long access to 600 plus courses, 40 AI exam certifications, and all our trainings are recorded and they are you'd be getting the expert guidance through these e-learning modules from industry leaders who are designed to upskill professionals across all industries. So click on this link on your handout to learn more about our Netcom Plus subscription. Now, we'd like to also quickly go over some facts about Microsoft certifications. Role-based and specialty certifications tend to expire within 1 year, right? You need to maintain, in order to maintain your certification from Microsoft, you need to renew them before they expire. And the renewal process from Microsoft is really simple and easy, and it is cost effective because it's free of cost. You don't have to pay any additional fees to continue maintaining your certification, right? So please make sure to go through this insightful ebook, The Win-Win of Certification. So in case you're planning to get officially Microsoft certified on one of these role-based certifications, this is a great resource for you to know inside out about all the perks that these have to offer. Also, in case you have a team and before you commit to maybe a quick start program for training your team extensively, maybe you want to go for a test drive, right? You want to understand how it adds value to your team, whether it's the right solution for you, whether training is making business sense for your team. We have an ideal solution for you to assess that precisely, right? So for our enterprise customers with teams of 10 or more members, we have the 2 hour private group training demo as a solution, which is also customizable. So our SMEs are going to connect with you, understand what your requirements are. They're going to prepare a targeted skilling plan, and then we are going to customize a 2 hour training for your team as a demo for a more extensive training engagement in case you see the value out of it. And all of these training sessions are delivered from our top Microsoft certified trainers. So this is a great tool. Please make sure to leverage it in case you are planning to explore more training opportunities. And last but not the least, we also have a learning passport, which is our go-to tool for year-long end-to-end enterprise training requirements. It is the ultimate flexible team training package. Irrespective of where your team members are located, irrespective of which modality you need to train your team on, or on which technology or vendor you need to train your team on, the Learning Passport is the ultimate solution. You get access to 4,000 plus official courses. You get flexible fund validity of 12 months. So whatever you invest as part of your Learning a Passport account fund, we up we almost doubled it, right? In case, depending on the amount that you are investing, Netcom Learning also pitches in, contributes to grow your overall fund value so you can train your team to the maximum possible amount that your funds allow you to do. So this is a great tool. Please make sure to explore it in case this is something that you are planning to deploy and you're planning to train your team on AI, Copilot, or any other solution. Also on this deck, you will find some Microsoft recommended courses related to today's topic, as well as a couple of free resources which are mapped here. We highly encourage you to explore these post the session and get in touch with us in case you have any specific skilling requirements. We would love to help you in your skilling journey. With that, please make sure to follow us for the latest updates on IT and business training through our social handles across LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And with that, we are done for this session. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thanks so much for guiding us through that information, Sagnik. And now we're going to go ahead and jump right into our question and answer session. Can Copilot be customized or integrated with third-party apps or internal systems?
Um, The answer is yes. Okay. I understand the kind of question and the backdrop of that particular question because, again, you're trying to understand, say, do you want to use your Copilot beyond your standard applications? Okay. Maybe for your decision makers and so on. So that's where, say, you can use Copilot Studio. All right. You have these connectors, you have these plugins that are available and so on. So where you can extend the possibilities, okay, integrate it with respect to the customization, the party applications, and extend the possibilities there in terms of what Copilot can offer. So the answer to that question is yes, definitely that's possible. There are different avenues that are available where you can definitely be extending and again leveraging the possibilities of generative AI assistant with respect to that of Copilot. I hope that answers your question. Yes.
How does Microsoft 365 Copilot differ from ChatGPT or other general AI tools?
Okay. Uh, See, uh, the question itself has the answer. Okay, your Microsoft 365 Copilot um, refers from ChatGPT in the sense that your Copilot is embedded within your M365 apps, Microsoft 365 apps. And that's where your Copilot very particularly uses data from Microsoft Graph when it comes to your emails, your calendars, your documents, your chats, maybe the data that is there in your OneDrive as such around here. And that's where, say, whenever you want to have some personalized, context-aware, business-based responses being generated, without being worried about maybe your data, your responses being exposed to an external world in a very safe, secure, in a very compliant manner, your Copilot really comes into role play as such. Whereas your chat GPT is pretty much say the other way around. Let's say it's more generic in those scenarios. So bounded by with respect to your organizational data estate, that's where the Copilot really comes in. Yeah, maybe the underlying technology, the behavior exhibited might be similar, but here this is where the boundaries are. You set the boundaries very particularly with respect to M365 Copilot, which can be used across different applications like your Word, Excel, we just showed, right? PowerPoint, maybe say in your Power Platform, maybe your Copilot Studio, Power BI, Windows, and so on. So I hope that helps answering your question. Yeah.
How can organizations customize or extend Copilot to fit their unique workflows?
So that's where, see, I believe your business expertise, your as a business professional, your expertise will come into role play as a subject matter expert. Okay, you know what your workflows hold, what are the business processes very specifically. That's where you can create custom co-pilots. So when we talk about M365 co-pilots, say you have these are very much pretty much standard to work with, but you want to exhibit a certain kind of a trait, all right, maybe a behavior, Maybe you want to use it as a subject matter expert when it comes to assisting you working with respect to certain scenarios as such. You can create custom co-pilots. And again, it's possible that you can integrate it with external tools. Maybe you want to use Power Automate for workflow automation, which we discussed a bit ago, right? That's where you can create custom co-pilots. So it's possible, maybe say if you're tech savvy, there are different avenues like say AI Foundry, which is available to create generative AI solutions of those sort. You can use Copilot Studio if you're someone who comes from a low code platform as such around there, and you can definitely customize your Copilot, extend it, suit it to your particular requirements, make it available on the right channel or the right avenue where you possibly think the interactions will take place accordingly. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Once again, I want to remind you that as you leave the session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We would like to request for you to help us by taking a quick moment to participate in that survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience as we are constantly looking at how we can improve our future sessions. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. We want to thank all of you for joining us today, and if you do come up with any additional questions, feel free to send them to webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We hope that you found today's webinar informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us soon. Feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Have a great day, everyone.